We're going to focus on the rails next. So on this project here, there's 8 rails. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And again, there's 4 on the bottom. So we have 8 rails to deal with. The one that you kind of want to take special note is this one has a drawer installed in that rail. So I'm going to be using some numbers right here. I just want you to be familiar with these numbers I'm using. So the rails are 3/4 of an inch thick. So that means the thickness of that rail is 3/4 of an inch this way. The board of fractions here. The number that we're looking for, our finished number is right here at 3/4 of an inch. So when I say 13/16 and 7/8, I want you to be familiar with the fact that 13/16 is 1/16 bigger than 3/4, and 7/8 is 2/16 or 1/8 bigger than 3/4. To make our rails, again, we need 8 of those rails. I have cut some boards already at 26 inches, just give myself a little bit of extra. And then I jointed one face and jointed one edge. I'm going to take 3 of these boards and rip them down to 4 inches. Take one of these boards, rip them to 4 1/4. Okay, so now I got all my boards ripped down. Again, I have 3 boards. 3 of these boards are 4 inches tall. One of these boards is 4 1/4 inch tall. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to take this board, the flat part that I jointed, the face, I'm going to put that against the fence. I'm going to raise the blade about halfway above the center line of that board, like that. I'm going to rip this on the table saw this way, flip it over, keeping that flat part against the fence, and finish my rip cut. I'm going to bring all these down to 7/8 of an inch, which is 2/16 bigger than 3/4. So at the planer, what I'm going to do is take these burn marks off from the table saw. I'm going to bring them all up to 13/16. And then that one I left big, the 4 1/4, the oddball, I'm going to leave at 13/16. But I'm going to take these down to 3/4. So this one's going to stay a little bit thicker. The wider one will stay thicker. So that's going to be 13/16. The rest of them will be at 3/4 of an inch. Okay, now we're going to cut all of these to length, these 3 boards, and we're going to cut a little bit of this thick board too. So let's go over here, some chop saw. So I'm gonna square up one end, cut these. We're gonna have 6 at 11 inches, and then we're gonna have one at 11 by 4 1/4. Do that. Okay, put a little X on that thick one still. Remember, this one's a little bit thicker and a little bit wider yet. And this one still is way too big. This is gonna be our drawer front. So we gotta make a bunch of cuts on this to make our drawer front. So I'm gonna set this one aside, knowing that this one's a little bit thick and a little bit tall. So, all right, we gotta make the rail that houses the drawer. So on this example here, see how this rail has a hole in it? Well, this rail is cut up into 4 different pieces. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then the middle piece becomes the drawer front. So that middle piece right there. So what we're gonna do is, I mocked up a little visual aid for us here. So again, this is the rail here we're gonna make. See how it's glued together here and here? Try to match that grain. Glued together here and here, and then this middle piece pops out. It's not glued in, and that becomes your drawer front. So let me show you how I make that. So remember, I've kept one piece a little longer than I need and a little bit thicker than I need. So you'll probably have 2 pieces that are thicker than you need, but that's okay. We can sand those down later to the final thickness. But this one here is, again, 13/16, 4 1/4, and a little bit longer than we need. So in this case, it's 15 1/2. As long as you're over like 12, 13, you're probably fine. What I'm gonna do is make some marks here. I'm gonna make a little triangle, and that triangle is gonna help me line up the grain later. I'm gonna make a line here, 2 lines here. All right, that's gonna help me line up the grain. What I wanna do next is set the machine, the table saw, for a 3/4 inch rip cut. So I'm gonna take that, cut it off. I'm gonna take this, cut it off. I'm gonna set this table saw for 3/4 of an inch, make 2 cuts. So let me go ahead and do that. Okay, so now I can line up my little scribble marks here and get to where I was. So there I was right there. See how the scribbles all kind of line up? Now what I want to do is take one of my 4-inch boards and stack it up like this. And the end result is I want the 4-inch board to be the same height as this. Right now you can, I don't know if you can see this, but you can hear it on camera. This piece is a little bit taller than this piece. So I need to take a little bit off this edge here, and I'll go to the joiner and do that. 2 trips through the joiner, and now I have that same height here. So now what I want to do is cut the middle out of my drawer front. To do that, I'll flip it over so I can have some new marks here. I'm going to find the center of this board right here, come over 3.5 inches, and come over 3.5 inches. And if you're not exactly in the center, just get it as close as you can. This board is, well, here's a little trick if you want to know a trick here. We're going to go 15, well, this board's 15.5. Ooh, where's the camera? There's the camera. So 15.5 is right here. If I fold the tape measure over, I'll line it up on 15.5. And then where it creases right here will give me a good idea of where the center of that board is. So 15.5, sight down the middle, kind of look at that crease, and 7 3/4. See how close I got there. Yeah. So however you want to find the center, find the center. Draw a mark. Center, 3.5, 3.5. Go to the chop saw. So at the chop saw here, when I put my cut, I want to make my cut right here on this side of the line and on this side of the line, always holding the long part of the board. Okay, I got my board reassembled, scribble marks all lined up, and I want to glue it together. When I glue it together, I want my little gap to be about that big for my drawer front. Let me show you what that looks like. So about something like that. So what I'll do here is grab my clamps and pinch it like this so it holds together, slide it in the clamp, lock it down. Once one's locked down, it'll kind of help to lock the other one down. And then we're going to go like this. And then that. So once you're looking good, something like that. Let's have a little bit of space for your drawer front to live here. You want to feel it like this to make sure you're not stair steps, so your boards aren't like this. They're nice and even across the face. So once you're dry clamped, what you'll do, keep one clamp on, pull the other one off, put some glue on the little guy here, and put it back. Just about like that much glue. You don't need to put a whole bunch on. Nice little film of glue. Put that back in. Make sure it's nice and even. Lock it down. Next side, same process. Bit of glue. And then what we'll do when this dries, we'll run it through that sander and get it down to the same thickness as the rest